This meeting is
James, what's
being
up, man? I
recorded.
don't think he could hear you. He wasn't connected to audio at that time. James, happy holidays, my man.
Hey, how's it going, sir? How you doing?
How have you been?
I've been great. Been awesome. Happy to be here. Um, yeah, just ready to rock and roll, make it happen.
That's cool. That's cool. So tell me a little bit about what you speak about. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Ron Story. I'm the head of product at SpeakerHub, and Angela is um, our head of operations. So yeah, we always love to have people introduce themselves when they first get in, so we know more about you and what you do, and we go from there. So yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about you, James?
Yes, no problem. My name is James Mackey, and I'm in the educational space. I've been in the field of education for about 2 decades now, over 2 decades, to be perfectly honest with you. I've served in every capacity, for the most part, at every level, from the K through 12 level to the community college level to the 4 year level. Um, and I'm in the process right now of writing a book. Actually, I've actually had the book written for about 2 years now, but I've just held off on it, which I'm glad that I did because over the past 2 years, um, for the past 2.5 years, actually, I've been the college counselor at Crenshaw High School here in Los Angeles, California, and it's given me a lot of, more content to put inside the book to update the book because my book is called Home Improvement, creating a college going culture at home. So my experience over the past 2 years have given me more content to put into this book just to make it better, updated, obviously. As pertains to speaking, I believe it's a gift and a calling that I have. My father was a good speaker, but he didn't utilize his gift as he should have. So I'm definitely trying to do that. And I've had a lot of speaking engagements. They've just been inconsistent, especially since the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, I spoke to a lot of athletic teams, um, groups, for-profit, nonprofit organization groups. The pandemic, things have been choppy for the most part. And I know everything I've tried, reach out, need a guest speaker for here, for there. It's been inconsistent, I believe, but if I had the opportunity to use this gift and this talent that I've cultivated over the years, definitely jump at the chance to do it. But I'm just talking to the next level.
I think we lost your microphone there for a second.
Mm,
Yeah, you got
yeah.
muted all of a sudden. Once you sat down, you got muted.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there you go.
I don't know where I left off at, but I'm just trying to
Yeah,
take
you said you were trying to use the gift over the years.
yeah, I'm just trying to take it to the next level. That's it. Speaking wise, and what's the best way to go about doing that? Because obviously, what I'm doing, it's not working. So I came across this website, and I was like, wow, like I've never heard of this website. Like I'm like, wow. So just trying to see what you all, what we can do for each other, and
Okay.
what all do I need to do to go out here, make it happen, and impact on just a grander level. So
Okay. Yeah, we'll help you. We can definitely help you with that. Again, Anthony, nice to meet you. Jadika, it's always good to see you. Anthony, you want to tell us a little bit about what you do? I'm Ron Story. I'm the head of product at SpeakerHub. Angela's our head of operations. We help 63,000 speakers around the world. About 25,000 of those are in the U.S. The other 45,000 or so are 38,000 or so are outside of the U.S. And we help them to get booked for podcast interviews, paid speaking gigs, and press coverage. So just want to introduce myself to you first. And if you want to tell us a little bit about what you do, that would be great.
Sure. Hi, Ron. Hi, Angela. I've been on some of your previous webinars on different topics, I think more about the AI side of things and the flywheel and whatnot. So I have a little bit of understanding of that, fluency on it a little bit, but was curious about the MDA model, or sorry if I got your acronym wrong, but MD. Yeah. No, BDA. Um,
Before, doing, and after. How do
yeah,
you get
thank you.
paid?
There's lots of different. I don't want an MDA. That's a medical degree. I don't know. Anyway, I've been doing this for a while, probably about a decade. James, I hear your pain points. I'm glad you're looking for resources to help you with that stuff, because it would be nice to like speed up that early process of getting momentum. Been doing this for a while. My business is about half and half, speaking from stage and then doing group facilitation at workplaces. It's largely around workplace culture. I have a book that just came out. Been on lots of different podcasts. Have not seen that those podcasts turn into any traction with booking from events, but going to reinvigorate the podcasting around the book that just came out and use that as a platform to try to see if that helps push book sales. The book is not meant to be a moneymaker or a New York Times bestseller. It's meant to be something that is a glorified calling card. I want to put it in the hands of people. I want to sell it for book or for bulk rates, so that when I speak at a conference, that it's in the hands of hundreds of people if possible. Just to try to get it out there more in the world and have my name out there more in the world. And I think the thing that the BDA model speaks to me because of I think part of the reason that I transitioned from just doing professional speaking into also exploring like team buildings and retreats and workshops and all that is each one of these speaking conferences, associations, it's like a one-off, like I'm not going to hire you back for 5 years. I see you both nodding to that, Angela and Ron, right? So I'm finally at the point where I'm getting hired back by some of my past clients because there's been enough of a gap in time for them to consider me, and I have a fresh message. I have something new to share. And I know you can get booked back-to-back years with clients if you have something that's niche and whatever that would be. But I also like doing the work where I get into doing group facilitation because it's more impactful sometimes than doing the work from stage. I have a contract right now with a probation department in California that I've been working with for a little over a year now, and I do one-on-one coaching with them as well. So it's a longer duration contract. There's more impact. There's more revenue from that, and that came from a speaking gig that at a conference like 3 years ago. So that's also the path for me of recognizing that speaking is a funnel for the other part of what I do. So I'll stop there. I'll let you ask whatever questions you might have.
No. This is just the intro. We usually let people intro if we haven't talked to you before, even if you've seen us on other webinars or other video content that we put out. It's our first time meeting you here, so we always want to know what you're doing so that I can always answer whatever questions you have in the context of what you may be working on. I think that the speaking industry is going through a silent transformation that a lot of the coaches don't want to talk about. So if they can sell you on the dream of making $1 million from the stage when less than 0.5% of speakers make $500,000 from the stage in revenue, then they'll continue to sell that even though it's not true, right? So only less than 10% of speakers generate $100,000 of revenue. That's not profit. You still have to pay for software and all the other things that your trainings and coachings, but less than 10% of speakers make $100,000 in revenue from the stage, right? So but everybody that we meet all say, no, I got into this so I can make 6 figures. Well, if 100% of the people want to make 6 figures, but in reality, less than 10% of the speakers are making 6 figures, something's wrong, right? So I believe that there's something wrong with the business model. Not that you can't make 6 figures, but that the way that you get the money has changed, right? So, and let me explain to you what I mean.
Okay.
You were talking about BDA, right? So what do you charge for a speaking gig, Anthony?
$5,000 and higher.
Right. So let's say you and I talk on the same topic. We're going to give a leadership speech. Could you talk on leadership?
Leadership, wellness, team building.
Okay. So I'll talk on leadership and team building. That's the gig, right? So I'm pitching the same gig that you're pitching, but instead of saying, pay me $5,000, I'm saying I'm willing to pay $5,000 for that stage. Who gets the gig? All things being equal, one is an expense, the other one is a profit center, right? Now, I'm not saying that every gig works that way, but I'm saying that's what's happening. Speakers have not become marketers, but the marketers are becoming speakers. So every coach and expert that has a program to sell, they're saying, I'll pay to get on stage because they know they can get clients out of the audience.
I'm not opposed
Versus
to that.
saying the only source of revenue is the event planner. No, I got several sources of revenue. I got the event planner. I got the people that's going to watch the recording. I got the people in the audience that are live. I got the people going to come to my table in the back of the room. If I see all of those as potential revenue sources, I can approach the gig differently. So I may be able to get paid before, maybe if I lowered it down to $1,000 and they just covered me coming there. That's still cheaper than $5,000 and still having to pay for my getting there. But then I can get paid during the event from the people in the audience. Because they're going to say, Ron, we would love to work with you, or you can come talk at our spot, or can you come do a training at our place? And then I can sell those books that you're talking about at the back of the room. And then if I have my people recorded, or whoever hosted the place have them recorded, I put it on YouTube. Now I'm getting paid from YouTube advertising plus the other people that saw the recording. That's BDA, before, during, and after. The best will always get paid in 2 out of those 3. You make the least amount of money getting paid up front. Nobody wants to admit that. If you don't believe me, look at the best speakers. Why do they sell coaching programs? Why do they have other trainings and other things that they do on top of the speaking fee? Because that's where most of the money is. I'm not famous enough to sell tickets, but I'm good enough to sell from the stage. Do you see what I mean? So
Yeah.
you may not be able to put my face on the flyer to sell the tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good enough on stage to get people to come talk to me afterwards. I can put our speaker QR thing up and get them to download a copy of my slides or a free copy of my book, and then I automatically can follow up with them to see if there's something else I want to do with them. I'm good enough to do that. That's what we teach, right? We're about the entire speaker business. Not being a speaker is one thing. That's only one mode of intellectual property. How do you build an entire business around that intellectual property? Does that make sense? So that's what we teach. And the reason why we are very strong on that is because we're the only people that can get you booked. Every other coaching program will teach you how to write a speech, but they can't teach you how to get a gig. They don't have the data to get you a gig. I don't care how much you pay them, they can't get you on stage. A lot of those guys are my clients. I know they can't get you on stage. That's why they work with me, because they can't get on stage themselves.
Tell me more about that part. Well, I want to give other people on the call
No.
an opportunity.
This is what this call is. So you're fine. This is how it works. We just talk. It's not a webinar. It's a regular customer service call. Janisa is pitching in the background for one of our clients, and her and her team, they hop on every day and they just pitch. Janika hops in. She's pitching in the background probably, and she's just listening in just to say what's up. And she'll give her experiences as we go. But this is how a normal daily call goes. We really focus on the people that are new, so we can kind of welcome you in and let you know how we do things. But yeah, there's no format. Make sense?
Yeah, I was just trying to be courteous to other people on the call too.
No, get your needs met, man. Get your needs met. That's my philosophy. Get your needs
Tis the
met.
holiday season.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the part that I'm curious about. I don't do the dooring. I think I'm understanding how to capture more and more of that revenue. I'm not opposed to doing, you probably heard the term free noting, where you do the keynote for free, but I need to see more proof that I have a really good close rate on audience members on not a book $20 at a time. That's not going to do it. But more of like, what's that turn into, the group facilitation work.
So part of it is what audience are you in front of?
Yeah, right.
So a lot of times, most of us are taking the gigs that are given to us versus the ones that we want.
Okay.
Again, it's different when someone invites you versus you choosing one you want to go on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When someone invites me to pay to be on their stage, I'm like, no, I didn't choose this. But if it's one that I really want to go on, I don't have a problem with saying, yo, what's the value? I want to be in front of this audience. Are you still looking for speakers? If they say no, it's closed, cool. Are you looking for sponsors? You know what they say? Yeah, I'm looking for sponsors. Cool. Can I get a speaking gig with that sponsorship? They never say no. They want the sponsor dollars. But if I know I'm gonna sell a $10,000 coaching program, all I need is one client to cover that.
Would the sponsorship be the example that you gave a few minutes ago?
Yeah.
The $5,000.
Yeah, exactly.
So a sponsorship would be, for myself or anyone on this panel, would be, hey, how about a sponsorship? How about if I pay you X amount of dollars to get on that stage at that event? Is that what you're
Exactly.
referring to? Okay.
Exactly. They never say no to that. I don't care who you pitching. They always gonna say yes. Why? Because they want sponsors, right? Sponsors is probably 50% of the revenue of the event. It's probably 100% of the profits because the hotel and the conference center take up all the money. They charging them $80 a cup for coffee. Like, it's ridiculous, you know? So to put it in perspective, I'm a firm believer that one of the most underutilized stages is podcast, right? We built an entire business with me doing podcast interviews. I live in Medellin, Colombia. There's no way in hell I'm flying back to the States to do a $3,000 speaking gig. It's 14 hours. Nah. Can we do this over webinar? I'll do it for free if you let me do it over webinar, right? So because I don't want to fly up there and miss 4 days away from my family just to get $3,000. Right? Now, I'm not saying other people shouldn't do that, but I'm saying that because that was a constraint that I had, I learned to sell over podcast. And if I could get people to take action over a podcast, imagine what I could do live. Because there's no real energy transfer over the podcast. You really got to believe what I'm saying. Right? You really got to believe in the proof that I'm showing over a podcast, over a YouTube video. So imagine the effect if I get in a room with that person. It's a whole nother thing because my certainty comes through, right? So what I'm saying is there are a lot of stages. If the message is the most important thing, you should be trying to share your message as much as possible, especially over podcasts, because you can get in front of thousands of people. Let me prove to you why podcasting is the way to go. Yeah. James, who's your favorite speaker? Anthony, who's yours? Both of you.
James is mine.
There it is. Bam. Look at that. You know?
James, now you have to say me.
Yes. Anthony is the one speaker in the world. I wake up to him every morning. Yeah.
See, now we done lost two speakers' credibility already. Both of y'all ain't never heard each other's speech and you're already giving testimonials. Not the SpeakerHub way.
Oh man. I mean, it's I mean, of course, I mean, there's Eric Thomas, but there's my uncle, who's a pastor.
Okay. So let's say Eric Thomas. Have you heard Eric Thomas live and in person?
No, I have not.
Yeah, but he's one of your favorites. It's because you heard him on a podcast or on a YouTube video. But every speaker who's beginning off saying, I don't want to do any of that. But yet their most favorite speakers, they've only heard over podcast or YouTube. Or through a book or through something else that they purchased from this person on Instagram or Facebook. But yet they only want to do live. And I'm like, well, if you want to be like him, you got to be like him. Right? If they're doing podcasts, you should probably be doing podcasts too. Because how are people going to know to come hear you when you're live if they've never heard you? My favorite comedians are stand-up, are public speakers, right? We go hear our favorite comedian because we heard a joke somewhere else. We don't just randomly pop up at the comedy house and give them $40 and say, I hope I laugh tonight. We say, man, D.L. Hughley's coming to town. Oh, man, Bill Burr's coming to town. We have our people that we've heard on a podcast, on a YouTube video, somewhere else, and then we say, okay, I trust this person. I'm going to go spend money with. That's how it works, right? But if they didn't put that free content out there, we wouldn't be there. So that's what most speakers miss about it. Because before it was radio. you would hear these guys on the radio, on the morning shows. They would be given 5 minutes in the morning, or Ricky Smiley, or Bob and Tom, or somebody, right? And that's how they built their audience. That's how they built their fan base. So speakers have to adopt the same thing, because it's not that people don't like or trust you, it's that they don't know you. So how can you command a high price if people don't know who you are? Especially when the marketers are coming in saying, oh, I can do that speech. I'll do it for free. And here's all of my videos. Because I've been making videos on what I've been doing for the last 10 years. Here's all of my speaker reels. You can see me on my YouTube channel. Right? Tell you a great story. I was talking with Les Brown, and this is a story he tells all the time. You can watch it. He actually told this story again on the Pro Speaker Summit that we did. And the story is, he was on the phone with someone pitching them about coming to give a speech. And his mentor was there with them. And his mentor asked him, he said, what was that? And he was like, what do you mean? He said, that wasn't Les Brown on that call. He said, what did I do wrong? He said, every time you pick up that telephone, you should treat it like a microphone, because people need to experience you, what they're paying for. So when you pick up that phone and you talk to that person, you give them the same energy that they're going to get when they put you on that stage. Why? Because everybody else is going to be boring. Everybody else is going to send their representative. But you're letting them know, if you could affect them over the phone, imagine what you could do over the stage. That was a whole different deal for most people mentally. Why? Because we think I'm only going to perform when I'm getting paid. But if you don't perform all the time, you won't ever get paid. Right? I don't want to. Buying a speaker should not be purchasing a grenade.
Purchasing what?
A grenade. Huh? A grenade. Yeah.
You shouldn't be purchasing a grenade.
Yeah.
Right? I should know what I'm getting before I pull the pin. I shouldn't have to pull the pin and hope that he is who he said he was. Right? You know, so that's what we're looking for, guys. That's what we teach. We teach, get on stage, get good, get your message out there. If the message is good, you'll get it out there regardless. And then people will recognize that. And, you know, it'll be a lot easier to get paid, because you have to become event planner insurance. You have to remove all the risk of the event planner booking you. Right? Imagine you book me to come in, James, and I get on stage, and the first thing I say is something bigotrous or racist. Whoever's hosting that event, they looking at you like, you booked this dude? Right? Now they got to have a talk with their boss because they didn't properly vet me ahead of time. That's a bad deal. So that's why we push getting on podcasts, using those to get the association gigs, using the speaker reels from that to get the conferences, getting a column. If you write for Forbes, you can get any speaking gig you want. You write for Business Insider, you can probably, all things being equal, you're going to get chosen over the person who doesn't. Because they're going to say Business Insider probably vetted this dude before they gave him a column. That's what that flywheel is about, Anthony. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what we teach. We teach that. We live and die by it. My background is I've worked with over 1,000 speakers directly, doing outreach for them. In the last 12 months, or the last 24 months, we work with over 300 speakers doing outreach for them. Our booking rate for speakers that we do outreach for is right around 90%. Right? The 10% that we were able to get booked is because they bailed before we could figure out the process for it. They'll try it for a month and they say, oh, well, I don't want to, it's taking too long. Well, look, speaking gigs in December are booking. If you're pitching now, you're pitching for August.
Yeah.
They didn't, no, I need something for January. Well, bro, you too late. You're too late for
Need a backup
January,
plan.
right? So it's just really the process. So,
Well,
but
tell me more about that part of it. I mean, that the thing that the space I'm in right now, Ron, is I've looked at your services. I've kind of paid attention to the program you were offering before, flywheel part of it.
Yep.
And some of those things, I'm like, well, I understand these processes, and I think that I'm kind of looking to do them on my own. I have a virtual assistant,
Yep.
And so tell me about this pitching process of how you do things and how you're getting such a good close rate on those.
Yeah, I'll tell you why we get a higher rate than everyone else. Because we do it every day without emotion. Same data, same emails. The only difference is that we're held accountable. Because if we don't send the pictures that you paid us to send, you're going to call us about it. If you don't send the pictures that you paid us for the data for, nobody's calling you saying, hey, Anthony, you didn't send your 20 pictures today. Do you see what I mean? So the difference is just accountability. We're required to send it because that's what you paid us to send. You're not required to do it because our emotions aren't involved. We're just going to click the button. We're not going to say, well, let me think about it. Let me look at this one. Nope. Send them 150 for them and let's move on with our day. Right. And we know that if you just continually do that, good things happen. Versus, I'm going to send 10 today and then, I'm going to hope that I'm going to try to send 10 perfect pitches. Right? No. 100 okay pitches will beat 10 perfect ones just because you had 100 swings at the bat.
So go back up in the process for me. How do you, maybe I should know some of these things already, and apologies, I haven't retained it. But if I assume there's some sort of an onboarding effort where you show me kind of what the linkage is between the potential clients in your database, the content that I speak on, customizing a pitch. Okay,
do you have a SpeakerHub Pro account currently?
I think so. I think I'm in the middle of a trial.
Okay, right. So when you signed up for that trial, it should have automatically started to match you with podcasts, associations, and conferences.
Okay.
Right. So if you look at my bio here,
Yep.
Actually, let's log into your account. Let's see if you don't mind.
I don't know.
Right. So when we're here inside of your account here, let's see. And there you go. Photo, everything is there, right? And you can add more things here, right? But right now, workplace and psychology and culture seems to be your topics. So when you click on podcast, we'll automatically match you with podcasts that we think would be interesting for you. When you click on conferences, we're bringing up workplace culture conferences. Does that make sense?
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yep.
This is helpful. I have a two-part question, and maybe you can show me the second part. The first part is, are these qualified leads that pay speakers, or do you have any data on that?
So we believe every speaking gig is paid. BDA, before, during, and after. You got to decide how you're going to get paid. The most requested speaking gig in the world is free. What do you think that is? It's called a TED Talk. They don't pay you to give a TED Talk, but everybody wants to do it. Everybody tells me I only get paid up front until it's time to do a TED Talk. Then I'm like,
I'm willing to, I feel comfortable with the A part of BDA. I don't have a whole lot of success with the B, so I think that's the coachable opportunity for me.
Yeah, well, the first part of it is just asking, hey, what's the, are you paying? And they'll tell you, yeah, we pay speakers, or no, right? And then you decide if it's a gig that you want to do. What I always say is, I guarantee you, let's say annual culture diversity conference, they said, no, we don't pay speakers. And then Donald Trump called and said, hey, I want to speak at your conference. All of a sudden they will find $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean,
that'd be an interesting fit for that conference.
Right? So our job is, one second, our job as speakers is to get on the call and then convince them why they should pay us. Does that make sense?
It does. I just, from experience, that could be, from experience, some of these conferences just don't have it. And I can tell you that some of these, just through looking at those, they'll give me a pretty good insight of whether or not they have the potential to have, um, if they have the potential to have a budget. And then having that whole process of noodling around those things is a curiosity, but I'm not sure about. I'd rather be putting myself in front of qualified people that are expecting to pay professional speakers, because the experience is also a lot better for a speaker. Am I willing to do free talks? Absolutely. I do them a lot. I do them, but it's for reasons that you spoke to. Oh, that's the audience that I need to be in front of. So if it's, those kind of things, I'll do it for free, because I know that I'm doing one in Vegas in January for that reason. Go to the second part, Ron, for me, is how do I take what's in there, and I can see where I can give VA access to my site and maybe have them screen some things based on my own criteria, and maybe how you could help me screen that, and then have them do some pitches for me and save a little bit of time on the front end so that I can come in to the process further downstream. What does your process look like if you do that? You mentioned 150 pitches or whatever that would be. What's that process?
Yeah. So, I mean, basically what we're going to do, we're going to come in and we're going to use the flywheel. So we're not just going to pitch conferences.
Okay.
Right. So we're going to use our formula where we're going to pitch you to podcasts, local associations, and conferences. The reason being is that if we only pitch you conferences, you won't find out whether our system even works for 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Because the conferences aren't going to make a decision for a conference in August. They're not going to make a decision this week.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do in the 6 months in between now and July when the conference comes up? You still got to get on stages. So you still should be getting on podcasts. You still should probably be going to local associations just to work on your messaging, right? Getting in front of small crowds, 30 to 50 people, just to keep, it's like basketball. If I say I'm a professional basketball player and you never see me at the gym playing, am I really a professional basketball player? Or should I be going and working on my ball handling skills, even if I'm not on a team right now and I'm aspiring to get on one next season, right? So professional speakers speak. That's what we know, right?
Yeah.
Right? So that's that part of it. We think you should be pitching all of them. So that's what we would do. But we would just follow the process. We would come in, we would add some extra topics here because I think that there's some other ones that fit. We would add some extra topics there, and then we would just use the same AI to pitch. Same thing you're doing or your VA would be doing. It's the same thing we would be doing.
Yep.
Right? So, but that's what we do. We would, come in here and probably find podcasts that your competitors have been on. So I would put in Odell Bazell for me, and I would see all the podcasts he's gone on, and I would go on all of these right off the jump because I know they already have my audience. I know we talk on the same topics, and I would just nail these podcasts.
Yeah.
Go be a guest on those.
What's
Then I would type in whatever city I'm in. So I would type in St. Louis and the associations, and I would hit up all of these people in St. Louis about coming to give a talk to these different organizations. Now, I'm a firm believer that there's only 3 speeches that have ever been given in history. You can teach someone how to be a better leader, you can teach them how to improve a skill, or you can teach them how to make or lose money. I mean, make or lose money. Yeah, that's probably the best way to say it. Every speech you've ever heard has come down to those 3 things, right? So can I go talk at a Boys and Girls Club? Yeah. I can talk about leadership and why you need to pay attention in school and why volunteering for student council and all these different things are great while you're young because it helps you to. I can talk about that stuff. It's leadership. Leadership works in any age group. Integrity, that's a leadership topic. I can talk about that. Right? Goal setting, that's leadership. I can talk about that. Right? So we can go talk at any conference, but we limit ourselves. The problem at the beginning is that we niche so small that we miss the opportunities to help the people we can help. Well, I only talk to Black women about this. Dude, so you're telling me if I followed them same steps as a man, they wouldn't work? Yeah, they would. So cool. You don't just talk to Black women. those principles apply to everybody, right? So we niche ourselves down, and then we say, well, nobody's really looking for my audience. Yes, they are. You can only give 3 speeches. Do you help people be better leaders? Yes, you can talk. Tell me a conference that isn't looking for better leadership talks. Tell me a conference that's not looking for skill building. Right? So, Richard, introduce yourself. Sorry for going on a rant. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. But Richard, introduce yourself.
Hello, Richard Higgins, CEO of Good Gardeners International. We're a charity that started in the UK in 1962. I became chairman 2016 and turned it international because of the demand for the science that we have revealed. I'm trying to podcast with people like Merlin Sheldrake, the experts, and there's an American one also on fungi, because they say in all their podcasts they have all solutions for different things, but I've not found on their website what solutions they have. They just say fungi deserves more research. Well, we harnessed particular fungi in our system 30 years ago, our HH2 system, it's on our website, and we can produce fertilizer out of garbage in 90 days. All kinds of garbage. It's very revolutionary. That means food waste, cooked food, uncooked food, food processing waste, pet waste, animal waste, even sanitation waste. Because the system's modular, you can make one of human waste compost and put it on trees. It's very revolutionary and it's very reliable and consistent. And it really needs broadcasting to the world because we believe we're sitting on a wave, the crest of a wave for this sustainable waste management, because it's so much cheaper than the electrical systems that are available today.
Okay, no, I think that's incredible. So let me show you the opportunity, right? If we just typed in environmental, 1900 podcast on the environment.
Wow.
If I typed in fungi,
I found that 3.
right? Yeah, no, if I type in fungus or fungi, I guess that's one.
Fungi, they call it, yeah.
There we go. We got 30.
Wow.
No fungi, no future. Go on that one.
Yeah. Well, how
Right?
do I do this? Can you guide me through? How do you send me the links or whatever?
100%. I definitely can. Right? So basically, what we do is our company is called SpeakerHub. And when you sign up, you'll put in some basic information like Anthony has put in here. And then our AI will look at your LinkedIn, look at your website, and write a bio on you.
Yeah.
And it will use that bio to match you with the right podcast.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I have a bio on my website. You can find that, of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you something. Watch what happens. So as soon as you pick a podcast that you want to pitch, let's say I'm going to let's go to that fungi one. And the future is fungi, even better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's add that to a list. And then I'm going to click pitch. Now, my background isn't the same as your background, but it's going to write a pitch for that podcast.
Nice.
Not validated. That's not good. Maybe they haven't. Try it one more time. Okay, so we're going to go to Mushroom Revival Podcast. And what you're going to see is that it's going to validate the email, and then it's going to write a pitch asking for me to be a guest with Alex. Look at that. In 15 seconds, that email was perfectly written.
That's incredible. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So this is what we do.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm up for it. But some companies I looked at, they want a bulk sum up front to give you 30 podcasts. Well, we're a charity and we really don't need that kind of expense at the beginning of the,
No, you can get on 4 to 5 podcasts a month with our system for $49 US.
Wow, that's incredible. That's the sort of deal we're looking for. Very, very exciting.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, if you look here at our plans, it allows you to reach out to 40 podcasts every month
Yeah.
for $49. You can pick any 40. If all 40 pick you, you win. But on
Yeah.
average, it's usually about 1 out of 10 will end up in a booking,
I
right?
haven't seen that part of your website before.
Yeah.
I didn't get
So
there.
when you go to SpeakerHub,
Yep.
right?
SpeakerHub.com, are you?
SpeakerHub.com, and you click this big orange button that says "Get started for free."
Okay. Yeah.
It's going to bring you down, and then you pick this one right here.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Wow. You see, I should be doing. I heard when I was in South Africa. Well, I started in England. There was a national permaculture course competition, and the guy who won the design competition was from South Africa. He heard my presentation on that thing, and he won the design award for that year. And he said to me, "I want you to come to South Africa." So I went to Durban. He introduced me to a guy in Australia called Graham Sate. Now his book is called Nutrition Rules, right?
Okay.
And where does nutrition come from? It comes from the soil, right? So he said, I'm doing the same thing. And we had a long talk on the phone as what you're doing, but I'm doing it on a big scale. I have a sellout tour in the USA, South Africa, and Australia every year. That's where I want to be, because he said, if I come to the UK, your farm will be the first farm I visit.
No, that's incredible. That's super incredible.
I've done a lot of work. I got a lot of ground covered with research and equipment established, but we don't have the publicity.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's just getting in front of more people. So, that's the main thing that we teach. It's not that you're not likable or trustworthy; it's that you're unknown, right?
Yeah.
And the more people you can get in front of, the better off you are.
Yeah.
So nice to meet you, Richard.
Good.
We're glad to help you. Joseph Johnson, how are you?
Thank you.
You still there, Joseph? I think you're muted.
Yes, I'm here.
How's it going? Introduce yourself. We want to know who you are.
All right, I'm Joseph Johnson. I live in Clinton, North Carolina. I am a retired educator, but I have a cut flower farm, and we grow flowers for retailers, wholesalers, and almost any kind of whatever's needed for events, for weddings, for so that's what we're into.
Joseph, I'll tell you a way I would use our system. Are you a speaker?
Yes.
Okay. So I would use it in two ways.
Uh-huh.
Not only would I pitch to be a speaker, but I would reach out to every event. I would come up with a template and reach out to every event and say, hey, if you need flowers, we can supply the flowers for your upcoming conference.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, because we are in the email business. So
Right,
you can pitch being a speaker, but I can guarantee you ain't got much competition pitching selling the flowers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And at every banquet, they need a table topper. They usually put the centerpiece on the tables,
Yeah.
which is usually made out of some type of floral arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many, or flowers for the guest speakers, so many different ideas that you can pitch from, having that conference organizer's information.
Yeah. What types of conferences are you thinking?
All of them.
Conferences that have humans.
All of them.
All of them. Okay.
All of them.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, what conference doesn't? Usually they have
Yeah.
banquets and other things associated with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And if they say no, okay,
Right.
they
Right.
still go to your website. They may end up booking you for a wedding. Flowers are
Never know.
multi-purpose,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Okay.
it's just an excuse to reach out to people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would do. I'm a salesperson at heart, so right off the bat,
Mhm.
I'm thinking, how do I grow the business?
Right.
I would love to get on stage, but I would love to put my flowers on every table.
Mm-hmm. And so, the interesting thing is that we have to do both. We have to grow the flowers and grow the business. And
Yep.
sometimes, the creatives are not necessarily the left brain, business folk,
Mhm.
but we're learning.
It's part of it, man. That's what we all go through it, man. Everybody's in business nowadays,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and we all get better. We have our strengths and our weaknesses,
Mhm.
and our job is to help people to get on more stages. Richard, what's up?
Does this gentleman need any fertilizer for his flowers? Because that's exactly
Hey,
what we make.
You know,
Okay.
Yourself, you
we
say
absolutely do, and I
yourself.
thought about it when you were talking about that, for sure.
deal's already done. That's
Yeah.
the value of this meeting.
Well, our website's on the wall behind me, ggi.org.uk. You
Okay.
can look it up, and we export to America anywhere. So we're
Send it to
actually
Put
him
it in
looking.
the chat.
in the chat, Richard. Put your website
Okay,
in the chat.
sure.
You know,
Yeah, I
so
will. We're looking to open a unit in America to make these. I'm going there in February because the American market, eBay told me, you're selling in the UK to 70 million people audience, fine, but the American market is 380 million people.
Hmm.
And with this, climate change, because it's climate resilient farming, we do gardening, and the power shortages, the cost of fertilizer, and all the electrical problems that people have, this is totally off grid.
Right.
It
yeah.
doesn't need any electrical or solar power.
So there you go. Well, hey guys, I think y'all should make a connection and figure it out.
Wow.
I mean,
Well,
you
you're doing a
got
great
a
job.
huge supply chain. We got the dirt to the flowers to the stage, and then if we get James to go speak, it's a huge deal.
Yeah. Yeah, we can link, promote each other. Yeah.
Yes,
No, that'll
indeed.
be great.
I would
So,
deliver a
any
powerful
any,
speech
any other
on.
questions about getting booked for speaking gigs? Anthony, did we answer all of your questions? Leroy, good to see you. We got a few people here from the UK today. Leroy, good to see you again. Joseph, what's your speaking topic, Joseph?
Speaking topic, I can speak on pretty much anything, on education, on leadership, education
Okay.
leadership, working with young people and creating identity, a scholarly identity. Um, I did some research on math and helping students to do well in math, and it's really not about the numbers, but it's about the heart. It's about what they believe about themselves. It's about identity.
There you go. That's a powerful message. You'll be surprised, you know, how much identity affects us in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
But so yeah, guys. So I'm Ron. I'm the head of product at SpeakerHub, and I help speakers to get booked for podcast interviews, live speaking gigs, and for press coverage. Every day we do this call from 12 p.m. Eastern time up until 1 p.m. or until I have another meeting. And we just answer questions. It's just a free dialogue just like this. There's no huge sales pitch or anything like that, but we have no shame in demonstrating our product and how we get people booked. But yeah, you're always welcome to hop in, ask your questions, see if there's any way we can help you. You don't have to be a customer of ours in order to receive help from us. But chances are if you keep hanging out with us, you will become a customer. So because we believe we have the best process for helping speakers to amplify their message. Our job is not to be a speaker ourselves, but to amplify the messages of people like you who we think are doing, things that are positive in the community. There's no way I could talk about fungus and fertilizer the way that Richard could, or talk about flowers or the mathematical process the way that Joseph can. And I'm sure that the reason that you're here is because you may not be able to get yourself on the stages the way that I can.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use my power to help you to do what you're better at, right? So that's what we do. At SpeakerHub, we work with 63,000 speakers that have profiles in our directory of speakers. We're basically LinkedIn for speakers. So you can have a free profile just like on LinkedIn. You can have an upgraded profile where you can do a little bit more stuff, or you can use our outbound system where we give you access to 4 million stages, 3.5 million podcasts, 45,000 conferences, 200,000 associations, and about 170,000 media outlets. We've already incorporated AI. You don't have to worry about prompting or copying and pasting things other places. Our basic system is tell us who you are. We will find the gigs. You just approve the message. That's what we do. We've been doing this for a long time. I recently took over SpeakerHub, so not only am I the head of product, I'm actually the owner. I've invested my own money. I know when people say, man, $250 a month is a lot. And I say, well, you don't want to know how much I paid. I paid a lot more than $250 to get access to the same things that you all have access to. I made a larger investment because I believe in what we're doing, and I also believe in what you all are doing. So I just want to do my job, which is to help you all to get on more stages. So
how can we get more information or get your information?
oh yeah, of course. So in the chat, Angel put in a link to SpeakerHub, and then I'm going to share with you on the screen. 1 second, let me make sure I'm sharing the right window. Yep. I'm going to share on the screen what we do really quickly. So SpeakerHub.com is our site. We teach a process that we call the speaker flywheel, where you set up your inbound system so that people can find you. But primarily we focus on outbound. We want you pitching different podcasts and associations to get on in order to share your message. So this is what we focus on every day. You doing outbound, a podcast, local associations and conferences in order to get your message out to more people. So Joseph, I saw you got kicked out there. I don't know if you heard what I said, but this is our focus. It's the speaker flywheel of getting you booked. All right. So we do that through two basic systems. And I'll share this one with you. This is something new. We haven't even shown this to the public yet. But so we do it through two systems. One is our outbound, which is what you see. And then the other is inbound. That's your speaker profile where people find you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, we're consistently looking to get more speakers on stage. We don't take a part of your fee. Whatever you make is up to you. You know, we just want to help you.
Do you help write? Sorry, do you assist in writing contracts and helping us understand how to do those contracts for those speaking engagements?
So at this time, since we're not lawyers, we don't get involved in the contracting part of it. But online, there's some standard contracts for speakers that are already out. Or you could have ChatGPT write a standardized contract that's customized for you and what you provide, and then pay a lawyer for 1 hour to look over it to make sure that it's meeting your needs. Then you never have to pay for that again, right? So, you know, we don't try to act like lawyers because that's not our thing. But for $150, you can get a lawyer to review or make addendums to contracts that you may already can find online as standardized. Right? So the SpeakerHub promises that we stay in our lane. We will never teach you something that we haven't done ourselves, and we will never profess to do something that we can't do. So we would prefer to direct you to the right people or bring in those people to give you the information that you need. So if you want to write a speech, we're not going to help you with that. Actually, I got a cool video I'll share with you all right now from one of my good friends that you all may have seen on TV. Her name is Kim Coles. And we did an interview just the other day. We'll be sending this out. We did an interview just the other day. I don't know if y'all remember. We are living single, right? So she has 40 years on stage as a stand-up comedian and as an actor on television. And she did this interview about how to tell a better story and how to be better on stage. So I'll put this link in the chat if anybody wants to watch this. But it's a great message from Kim about, you know, how to get better on stage and some of the mistakes that new speakers make. And, you know, mistakes that she made when she was making the transition from television to the acting stage. So, yeah, that's what we're gonna always bring in the people who know the stuff. I'm not gonna try to act like I know more than Kim. I mean, she got the proof. I ain't never been on TV. I mean, like, who am I to argue with her? Like, she's done it. So, yeah, this is what we do, guys. So, any other questions, comments, concerns? We help people to get booked. That's all we know. If you haven't already, sign up for a free trial of SpeakerHub and SpeakerHub Pro. Both products have a free trial. When you go to the webpage, you also see a webinar that we put together called the Speaker Launch Formula. Angela put the link to that in the chat, where I just show you our process for getting booked. You don't have to be one of our customers to follow the process, but we're an open book. We give you everything that we know, and then you can go do it for yourself. All right. Go ahead, James. What's your question?
Yeah, I was wondering, what is the difference between SpeakerHub and SpeakerHub Pro? Is there a difference between?
Yep, there is a difference. I'm going to show you. So SpeakerHub is what we call the speaker profile. That was the original speaker profile that you see here. Let me go back. The speaker profile is basically where you get your inbound leads. So you see Allison Maxon. This is her speaker profile. This is the original SpeakerHub and how it looked. And this is what happens. So if I were to search for Allison Maxon, it's for inbound. So if I search for her in Google, right, it's going to bring up all of these other things, but which Allison is it? Because there's a bunch of different pictures of different Allisons, right? That ain't the same lady as this, and that's probably not the same lady as that. And she has curly hair, she has straight hair. But let's type in speaker. When we type that in, you can see what's first. Her SpeakerHub profile. We go over to this page. SpeakerHub is going to be right there, so we know we're finding Allison Maxon, the speaker. This is regular SpeakerHub. That's the inbound process that we talk about here. Does that make sense? So that's the speaker profile that we're looking at so that people can find you when they Google you. This is SpeakerHub Pro. This is where you're being proactive. You're reaching out to the stages that you want to be on. You're not waiting on people to find you. You're saying, hey, I want to be on this stage, so I'm going to reach out to them. Whether that's a podcast, a local association, a media outlet, or a conference. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question? Cool. Yep. So the pro is for proactive. We want you reaching out to people. Janika, everybody's been asking about podcasts today. You want to tell them about your experience with podcasts over the last 2 months?
All I can say, it's the winning formula of Speaker Pro and SpeakerHub is the podcast. I think for anybody who is just starting or somebody who is restarting and entering the speaker format or speaker world, dealing with the podcasts, I'm finding to be the most successful for me because I'm re-entering. And I've been able to I'm booked on podcasts right now from now until March. I have dates that are booked and they're steadily coming in. One of the good things is you don't get them always on your first entry, but if you do the follow-ups, you'll be surprised how the follow-ups produce speaking invites for podcasts. And I'm finding that now. I mean, I have quite a few follow-ups that I did a while back, and they're circling back around because one of the things about right now, everybody is gearing up for 2025 and getting their guest lists together. And now is a good time to start reaching podcast hosts while they are in the mode of where I want to be for 2025 with a guest list. So podcast has been working, and now Ron is telling me to graduate up to association. So that's my next move. I'm working on that.
That's it. That's it. So Janika is persistent. She's someone who shows up every day. You can see her pitching. She's always on the leaderboard because she's consistent with doing it. And that's really the only thing that's been different between those who get booked regularly and those that don't is consistency. James, imagine if I decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna start going to the gym. And I go tomorrow. I put on a bench press, I do it as heavy as I can one time, and then I go home. Right? And I don't come back until March. You think I'm gonna be in good shape?
No, absolutely not.
Exactly. Just like you got to go to the gym every day. You may have arm day and leg day and push pull day or whatever they call it, cardio day, lifting days. You got to go regularly. And at the beginning, you don't see a lot of results because you've only been going. The results are more mental in the first week. And then they become internal with your endurance. And then they become external in your muscular system over time. But if you don't go through that process, then you never get the results because you're checking too soon. Richard, imagine if I planted a seed today and tomorrow I'm upset because I don't have a tree outside, right? You would be like, dude, relax. You got to water it and put some more of my fungus on it and put the right fertilizer and give it 3 months and you'll see a little sprout.
Yeah,
But
well, that's
Go
so
ahead.
true. What I did one podcast, my first one on this subject, with an English podcaster who has 500,000 views.
Wow.
And he's a very nice man, and my podcast is there on our website. But it sold me 6 systems from one podcast, right?
Mhm.
My systems cost £5,000 each. So that was huge. But I've invested, as you have, 30 years of, personal capital
Yep.
on this, and the company owes me, like a load of money, in directors' loans, they call it. But
Yep.
this is the thing. If we can sell through podcasting, as this lady has said, it's the future. I absolutely believe that, and it's really worked already for me.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's the action. It's consistent action. When you're not seeing results, you just keep going because
Yeah.
we've given you the formula and we tell you it's going to take this much time. And then people sign up and then they do the opposite. They say, oh, it didn't work. And I'm like, because you didn't follow what we said. And whether it's growing flowers or growing people or growing speaking career, there is a recipe, right? There are processes that are in place that can help you to get the expected outcomes. So, I'm a firm believer in that. We're here to help you guys with that. We want to help you to get booked more. If you trust us, we trust the process, right? So we're going to always push the process that we know works. But yeah, so just like I can't go to the gym. One guy asked me the other day, I was on a call, and he says, well, I've been speaking my whole life. And I said, okay. And I said, well, what's the largest audience? Well, no, not in front of people. I said, no, you've been talking your whole life. Talking and speaking aren't the same things, my man. 2 different things. And I said, where are you located? He says, I'm in Miami. And I said, okay. And he says, but I don't want to start off with little small crowds. I'm not afraid of talking in front of 3,000 people if you put me in front of them. I said, no problem. Total, it's all good. So you're in Miami? He said, yeah. I said, I'm going to go to the Miami Heat basketball arena next time I'm in Miami, and I'm going to knock on the door and ask for Pat Riley, who's the general manager, and ask for a tryout. And he said, why would you do that? You'll be wasting your time. Like, they wouldn't just put you in the NBA because you knocked on the door. And I said, why? He says, because how do they know if you have the skills or if you even know how to play basketball? I said, but that's what you want event planners to do for you. You haven't been on any stages to prove that you know how to speak. I could go and tell them the same thing you told me. I've been playing basketball my whole life. That don't mean that I'm good enough to play for the Miami Heat. So speaking is a skill that had to be developed. And as long as we treat it that way, the industry is very respectful towards us because those who have the skills will get better and you will get booked more. So don't negate the getting on stage and building the skill. Whether it's a small audience or a large audience, you just got to improve the skill of speaking. Roy, good to see you. He's calling from the International Space Station aboard with the horizon of Earth behind him. You know?
Hi everyone, how you doing? Well, you see, I know this product work because you have been keeping me really. I know I have the chance to come on because the kids are off school now and it's hard. I'm doing the same thing that you have been doing in the background, but I've been really busy. Last week or the week before that, I was in Phoenix. Came back, and since I've been here, I think I've had 3 interviews done on podcasts, and I have quite a few lined up. So I'm very busy working it. So this stuff works. I'm telling you that straight off the bat.
No, that's good, man. That's good news. Congrats on the 3 interviews so far and the trip to Phoenix, man. So, but yeah, guys, any other questions, comments? I got 2 minutes because I got to get ready for my 1:15. But any other questions
have a
before
comment.
we end for the day? Go ahead.
I have a comment. We will be here Thursday and Friday. Thank you all so much for joining us for taking off for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But we'll be here Thursday and Friday. And then next week, we'll be here Monday, Thursday, and Friday as well. We won't be here New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So feel free to join us, invite friends. We'll be here for y'all.
I have a question.
Yep. What's your question?
Yeah. Can you, like this gentleman here, Leroy Roberts, has got a fantastic backdrop. Can you advise at some point how to do a backdrop? I've only got 5 feet in this room.
Oh, no. I'll show you how to do it.
I can't do a back projection. There isn't room, I don't think.
No. On your Zoom, you see the camera down in the bottom left corner in Zoom?
Yeah.
Zoom window where we are, you see a microphone
Yeah.
and a camera?
Yeah.
There's a little arrow next to the camera. Click on that little arrow.
Yeah.
And then there's a thing that says adjust my background and effects. Do you see that?
Video settings?
Yep. And it says adjust above video settings. It says adjust background and effects. Do you see that?
Oh, it says general.
So yeah, but what did you click on video settings?
Oh, I'm doing that now. Yeah. Okay.
And then go down and if you go down, it says background and effects, audio, screen share, and then team, and then background and effects. You see that?
Wow. I can't actually see it right now, but I know where to look. I can figure that. Yeah.
When you go to settings, click on settings in the bottom left corner. Video settings, right?
I've clicked the heading video, and you're saying
Okay, no, it's not in the one that says video. You have to go down a little further. Under video, you see audio, correct?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then you see screen share, and then team, and then background.
No, mine's got audio, statistics, and about.
Okay, so I don't know which one you're in, but on ours we have a thing that says background, and then I can switch mine to the Golden Gate Bridge, or I can put
Can
myself
you? Wow. That's
middle.
I'm sure I'll find that. That's amazing. I'll have to play
now
with
I'm
it,
gonna go
yeah.
next door to I'm next door to Leroy now. We're in the same spaceship flying next to each other.
Hey, Ron,
That's
Ron,
incredible.
Go ahead, Jadika.
one of the things you have to have a paid Zoom. They don't do it on the free Zoom if you're on free. You have to be paid Zoom.
Okay.
Ah, that's it. I have to do a paid Zoom contract, yeah?
I didn't know that. Okay, well now I know.
Yeah. It's worth it, absolutely.
Yep. So yeah, guys, no, this was great. Hopefully you all have a great Christmas weekend. Hopefully we see you all at the beginning of the year. Love to get you booked on some stages. This is what we do at SpeakerHub. We get you booked. Yeah, that's all we do. So James, I just sent you a text message. I don't know if you got it. But yeah, so nice to meet you all. Joseph, I sent you a text message, not James. Sorry about that. I don't have James's phone number, but I do have Joseph's. I saw him put it in the chat. Yeah, Let me know if you have any questions. We're always here. I'll see you on Thursday and Friday. Have a great time with your family, guys, over the holidays. The world needs to hear your message.
Thank you so much. Hope
You
you
gotta
have a holiday.
give them these flowers while they living, Joseph.
Absolutely.
Talk to you later, guys.
All right. Thank you so much.